Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 195, Declaration of the Truths. I don't know if you've seen this, but there's been a document released by some people high up in the Roman Catholic Church called the Declaration of Truths, relating to some of the most common errors in the life of the Church of our time. And this was put together by, Cardinal Burke, one of them, Cardinal Janis Pujats, Tomasz Peta, Jan Paweł Lenga, and Athanasius Schneider, some real big swingers and heavy hitters within the Roman Catholic Church. These people have kind of been at odds with the Pope, but nonetheless, they actually put together this document here, and it's 8 pages long. I invite all of you to read it. It's essentially 40 bullet points about what common misconceptions of Roman Catholics are today, and it goes into things like civil marriage, homosexual unions. It goes into transgenderism, so on and so forth, who can receive the Eucharist, who can't, because there's been a lot of confusion within like some of these dogmatic positions of the Church recently, a lot of which has been because the Pope has been speaking off the cuff to the press, and he says something sometimes that you kind of wonder, what is he talking about if he goes against literally 400 years of teaching of the Roman Catholic Church. So this is to clarify a lot of the positions. Some of which, and in fact, I think everybody should read these. These are kind of phenomenal, frankly. I've been over them 1 or 2 times now, and I think they're quite good. But I came across one that I thought was really interesting, and it actually may be one that I hope all of you, if you know any old Catholics, I mean old people, that are in a marriage, not their original marriage, that want to come back to the Church, there's a bullet point here that I think people probably should listen to, and maybe approach the old people and see if they want to be Roman Catholic and in full communion with Rome. This is bullet point number 22, and I'm going to read it to you. You ready? Anyone, husband or wife, who has obtained a civil divorce from the spouse to whom he or she is validly married, meaning the person that they originally married with in the Catholic Church, and has contracted a civil marriage with some other person during the lifetime of his legitimate spouse, and who lives in a marital way with the civil partner, and who chooses to remain in the state of full knowledge of the nature of the act and with full consent of the will to that act, is in a state of mortal sin, and therefore cannot receive sanctifying grace and grow in charity. That makes sense. You divorce your original spouse, and then you marry somebody else in a civil marriage. You've kind of separated yourself from the Church. You've done that on your own authority and in full knowledge, and it's cannot receive sanctifying grace and grow in charity. Those are some harsh words, but something you should think about. But it then goes on to say one more sentence. Therefore, these Christians, it calls them Christians, by the way, unless they are living as brothers and sisters, in quotes, brother and sister, cannot receive Holy Communion. And it quotes John Paul II, Apostolic Exhortation Familiaris Consortio, number 84. Essentially, and I don't know if I'm wrong about this, but I think I'm right about this, that if you're living as a brother and sister with somebody you're in a civil marriage with outside of your original Catholic marriage, that you can actually receive the Holy Eucharist as long as you live as brother and sister. And I would think, you can go a little bit further with that, as long as you acknowledge everything that you did in your life, like when your divorce was probably wrong, your remarriage was probably wrong, but now you're at this state in your life where you're like, I probably did some wrong things there, and I want to be Roman Catholic, and oh, by the way, I'm going to live as a brother and sister with my spouse. With an old person, those things go away with time. The temptations of the 6th and 9th commandment, and the temptations towards your spouse go away with time. And so if you're an older person, you grew up Roman Catholic, but you kind of left the Church because of a divorce and a remarriage, you can actually come back and stay with your spouse as long as, A, you agree what you did was wrong, B, you state you want to be a Roman Catholic, C, you confess all the sins of your life, and then what's the next one? Then you have to live as brothers and sisters. And if you do that, you can be a Roman Catholic in full communion with Rome. I think this is an untapped resource of Roman Catholics out there. There probably are a lot of people out there that just want to be back in Rome. They're older, they're worn out, they're nearing death. They have a spouse that wasn't their original spouse, and they kind of need each other now because they've bonded to one another and they're caring for one another. If they want to be Roman Catholic, they can. But you do have to, A, live as a brother and sister, and B, you have to confess and see you actually have to admit what you did was wrong. And then you can actually become a Roman Catholic in full communion with Rome. I think this is an untapped resource. And so if there's anybody out there, old people out there, that want to become Roman Catholic again, and like, by the way, this is the old people don't watch YouTube, or typically don't. So how about if you're watching this and you know some old people, you know, your grandma, your grandpa, your aunts, your uncles, whatever, your mom and your dad, or whatever else, and you want them to come back to the church, and they're living in that situation where they're getting older, nearing the ends of their days, go and approach them on it, because they may just want you to ask them, you know. And if there's an easy way for them to do it, they might just actually take that. And that should bring you some peace in your heart if you could get the elders in your family back into the Roman Catholic Church, or elders that you know. Nonetheless, this is I think this is a wonderful document. It's something that takes some meditating over, it takes some prayer. Again, the Declaration of Truths relating to some of the most common errors in the life of the church in our time. Cardinal Burke and a bunch of other guys put it together, and so Google this, download it, and read it. It's 8 pages, and it's really good. And to be a Roman Catholic, you actually have to believe this stuff. And so there you go. It might actually open your eyeballs. And well, anyway, this is Catholic Dad. Make you think about it. Please like and subscribe, get the Mass, and pray the Daily Rosary. And certainly do share with your friends, particularly old people, if they want to come back to the church. God bless you.